You're live.
Got boxing practice going on.
Yeah, they're getting ready. It's game time.
Oh, we live?
We're live.
Oh, I'm sorry. Welcome everyone out there. Give people some time to come in. Welcome to the BIZ. Welcome to the biz with NormBeezy and Lady Tiger.
Lady Tiger, Lady T.
AKA Lady T. 2025. Welcome for season 5.
Season 5.
We're live. Last time we were podcasting was around the election time. We had some great guests come in from the local area. Local candidates came in and got to talk to us. It was pretty exciting.
Tell us about their agenda and their platform and kind of what their vision was for their potential positions. And
it was pretty exciting to learn about legislation.
Oh, yeah.
Why people should vote. And we learned about Congress, and we learned about all those things that, civic engagement.
Yeah.
We had a great
all that Civics 101 stuff.
We had a great civic engagement piece. So anyway, right now we want to welcome you in. If you're looking on Facebook, if you're tuned in on LinkedIn, if you're tuned in on YouTube, we appreciate you. We thank you for that. We know it's Friday, but it is actually the last day of Black History Month. So we wanted to go ahead and jump in because our theme for today is
if you erase African American history, then you erase American history.
And we're going to get a little bit more into that of what we believe in our theme. If you erase African American history, then you erase American history. And by just saying we should all be celebrating the history and fabric of what made America, what makes America great. Emphasizing that what makes America great is all of us. all of our nationalities, all of our cultures, the diversity of being an American and coming from so many parts of the world. But we'll get into that. I was just trying to give people some time to
tune in.
Come on in. Welcome back to the biz, season 5.
Season 5, and we're
Lady
live.
Tiger. And like I said, that's our theme. We're going to get into that. We're going to give some shout outs. We want to give a shout out. I still want to give a shout out to Toyota. Let's bring some of them people up. We want to give a shout out to Toyota. Of course, the Stars Theater Troupe, Positive People Association. And we also want to give a shout out to the Glorious Church of God in Christ, Pastor Bishop Bridey. I always want to give him a shout out still. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
10th Avenue for all the things that they've helped getting Positive People Association off the ground. You know what I'm saying? So we're Positive People Association appreciates that. All Here Together Productions. We do the Word on the Block with them. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on too, what's up and coming. So All Here Together Productions. We also got to give a shout out to my man, Basic Supplies. Why?
Because they supply our basic supplies. Thank you, Mr. Joe Williams.
Yeah, thank you very much, for real. You just don't know how much that comes in handy.
Absolutely.
So,
all those necessities.
All those necessities, man. We really appreciate that. So we wanted to give back. If you wanted to come into the show and talk with us, I have the StreamYard link at the bottom. You can type that in and you can come in and
we can bring you in with a video, or they can leave a comment and we can reply.
Yes.
Yeah.
We can bring you in, and they can still leave comments on Facebook. You can leave comments. We can still see your comments off of Facebook, off of YouTube, off of LinkedIn. We can see your comments. So I'll bring that back up pretty soon too. And then we have, if you want to check out the Positive People Association and see what all the good things that they're doing, all the wonderful programs that they're running out in West Virginia, the link at the bottom, positivepeopleassociation.com is a website link. You can go to the website link and check out what Positive People Association is doing in your community. So we'll bring that link back around to you another time too. So subscribe. When you go to that Positive People Association link, subscribe, follow, ask questions, see what's going on. We're trying to get ready for another good year of a summer program coming up, the Shine Art Enrichment Summer Program. So just
it was
come on
very
and
successful last summer.
oh man.
Had what, like 20 some kids that participated?
Yes. It was a great program. We must give a shout out to the Palatine Foundation of Huntington for helping sponsor that, and I always give a shout out to Councilman Mike Shockley for helping with sponsoring that, and then Councilwoman Teresa Johnson, who has also contributed to sponsoring for Positive People Association, Delegate Sean Hornbuckle, and Todd Shell, Chrissy Persevati, and to our board of directors at Positive People Association, man, they do a good job getting out there and trying to make sure that the programs go well. But we're gonna get back into some other stuff into the show. So we're gonna let me slow down. I'm just excited to be back.
It is excited to be back. It's been all the way live, huh?
All the way live.
It has been a minute. It's a new year.
So stick around, stay tuned. We ain't going nowhere. I'm just gonna bring the intro.
The business.
Welcome to the biz. We talking economics, education, entertainment,
labor, law, politics,
religion, sex, and war. Family. It's your boy NormBeezy
and Lady T. Say what?
Spitting straight facts.
Did you know?
The business.
All right, that is the business.
We're bringing the business.
So again, I'll put a disclaimer up there. You know what I'm saying? The views and opinions expressed in this show are solely by the people and the guests that we have. The speakers, not necessarily reflecting the views of any position or any entity that they represent. But that's what we're here for. So let's jump in. Let's get on into the theme for this year. If you're a race, African American history.
Then you erase American
history. And that's the last day of
Black History Month. Yeah, I
don't know what the big.
We get 28 days.
As I say, it started out as Negro History Week.
Yes.
Started out by the principal, Carter G. Woodson, Dr. Carter G. Woodson, PhD, who was principal here in Huntington, West Virginia, got deep roots in Huntington, West Virginia.
Yeah.
So
got a statue out here on Hal Greer.
So that's big. That's major. You know what I'm saying? That's irrelevant. So we should be celebrating Black History Week, Black History Month, African American History Month. There should be something throughout the tri-state. There's so much rich history here in the tri-state area, West Virginia, Kentucky, Ohio. Underground Railroad stuff, you know what I'm saying? Underground Railroad memorials, John Campbell.
You got the 37th Cemetery in Burlington.
Yes, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of history
there is.
That African American history, not just local, but how it even affected, worldwide, global, you know what I'm saying? Memphis Tennessee Garrison, there was some, one of the first Black senators in the United States. These people worked out throughout Washington, D.C. It's just a lot of history here. So look that up. We ain't gonna get into all that yet because we are going to go through our timeline. But let's recognize some of our unsung heroes.
So the first one I wanted to recognize was Viola Liuzzo, and she was a white woman from Detroit, Michigan. She was an American civil rights activist. She was best known for going to Alabama in March 1965 to support the Selma to Montgomery March for voting rights. She left her husband and her children when she saw that call to action. On March 25th, 1965, she was in a car with a young black male. She was shot in the head and was told by the Ku Klux Klan while driving activists between the cities and transportation. So if you don't know, if you've not heard of Viola Liuzzo, look up her story. Again, she was a Caucasian woman from Detroit, Michigan that was part of the civil rights. And she was killed just because she was with African-American people.
And I'm glad you mentioned that. That's why I said I think everyone should celebrate African American
Mhm.
history, not because, you know what I'm saying, like, oh, you're excluding and you're making this a black and white thing, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, it's like I said, it's the culture, it's a part of American history. And there were some good white people
Yeah, absolutely.
that was a part of the African American history, part of different movements. And we'll go through that through the timeline. But just like Viola there, you know, they put their life on the line for what we call
she left
freedom.
her family to go be part of the civil rights. To support the Selma to Montgomery March, and thought she was going to go back home.
Right.
And was killed.
All because, you know, all because she helped, but she wanted to be a part of making a difference in her country, in our country. Yeah, that's crazy. But
and then we have Miss Diana Judith Nash. She is a Black activist, lecturer, and businesswoman. She was born in Chicago, but ended up in the South at the height of the civil rights movement due to attending university in Tennessee. In 1960, she helped found the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. Diane Nash also coordinated the National Student Movement Ride, which participated in the Freedom Rides that were ongoing throughout the South in 1961. She even spent time in jail for participating in sit-ins and having solidarity with the Rock Hill Nine. She was instrumental in organizing Birmingham's desegregation campaign in 1963.
Wow.
So another unsung hero that you don't hear about.
And I want to give an applause to all the unsung heroes.
And there's so many more. You know, I try to make a point on my own personal page to each day of Black History Month, and it needs to be ongoing because I learned a lot myself to share a Black history fact. And, you know, it is Black History Month, but the more you know, then you have a better understanding of why it's so important to recognize these people for the things they did and for the inventions and for the ingenuity and just it's just amazing to me, all the things that we did not learn in our history books. I mean, you hear about, you know, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, but there's so many other people that contributed to American history. So
and that's a great segue to why we want to talk about we want to have a discussion on the connections of the struggles and triumphs throughout that African Americans had throughout history. So that's a great segue. You're right. All the contributions that were impactful. We can't go through all of them necessarily, you know what I'm saying? And the coming out of slavery, well, that's where they start our history, right? I mean, you know, we start with slavery, right?
Right.
Well, you know, Plymouth and Rock. Land on us.
We didn't land on Plymouth Rock.
Right, land on us. So, you know, when you talk about in Virginia and, you know, when the first slave ships arrived, and I believe it was Jamestown, Virginia, and you talk about from that point, and from a perspective of that point to where that's where they say that the African American history kind of starts in America at that point. But I want to go through a timeline real quick. And it was 1619 that the first African Americans arrived in Virginia, which is on the side of your paper.
Yeah.
If you want to help me go through that. But then, you know, the earliest recorded slave revolt was in 1739. So from the time of 1619 to 1865 was a period what we call slavery and resistance. You know, 1831 at Turner leads a major slave rebellion in Virginia. 1863 Emancipation Proclamation signed by President Lincoln freeing enslaved people in Confederate states.
And let's not forget, that's part of like how Juneteenth came about, because there were slaves that didn't even know they were free for 2 years.
For 2 years,
for
right.
2 years. In 1865, you find out you've been free for 2 years.
That's true. We don't want to forget that. Sorry, ruffling paper here because got like different timelines here going that I might want to elaborate on some of the things that happened though as I looked at it. And then, you know, we got a period of 1865 to 1900. We'll talk about the Reconstruction in the Black Progress era. 1865 to 1900, Reconstruction and Black Progress era. 1866, the first Civil Rights Act grant citizenship to African Americans in 1866. So that's well over 200 years.
Yeah.
From the time the first African slave ships arrived in Virginia. 1867, this is a good one. Historically Black colleges and universities began.
HBCUs.
Howard, Spelman, Morehouse, to name a few, that began to expand in 1867. That's a big moment because we're talking about education. We're talking about from people that supposedly couldn't read and write.
Right.
You know, didn't have, you know.
But we had to form our own colleges.
Didn't have to have certain rights and stuff. Couldn't be allowed into regular schools or, you know, the predominantly white colleges. We weren't allowed to get there. So it was 1867. Then you got 1870, the 15th Amendment grants Black men the right to vote. So that was huge. That had to be big for Black men that right to vote. And of course, we know we're gonna go through some things getting the right to vote, right? Pretty much. Like I said, this is the Reconstruction era, which some believe that era was worse for Black people than slavery, because this is the era where you have the Jim Crow laws.
From 1900 to 1950 was the fight against the Jim Crows.
Yes. In 1877, which I have on here, 1877. Well, let's go back to 1875. The Civil Rights Act of 1875 prohibits racial discrimination, which is big to say that because it's going to be later overturned. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So there was a Civil Rights Act of 1875 that prohibited racial discrimination. But in 1877, we look at Reconstruction ends, but Jim Crow laws began to take hold in the South. So at the end of the Reconstruction period, the Jim Crow laws is taking effect. And we know what that was. 1896, Plessy and Ferguson legalized racial discrimination, the separate but equal. So again, that's where they retracted, you know what I'm saying, the discrimination thing. So Plessy versus Ferguson in 1896 legalized racial discrimination, separate but equal.
Separate but equal.
So in the 1900s, we're looking at 1900s, 1950, 55, we're looking at the era of the fight against Jim Crow. NAACP was founded
in 1909.
Yeah, to combat racial injustice. You had the Red Summer. I don't know if a lot of us heard of the Red Summer. Have you heard of the Red Summer?
I'm not familiar with.
You never heard of the Red Summer?
No.
Yeah. Well, it was a racial violence erupted in Black communities and fighting for the rights. Now, I did look over some of this stuff, and I need a fact check, but I think the Red Summer happened in Chicago or St. Louis. But we're going to fact check that. We're going to look that up. But I remember reading about the Red Summer. And yeah, it was a brutal time for the African Americans. So
the Chicago race riot of 1919.
I said Chicago.
Yeah, you're right.
The Chicago race riot of what?
1919.
1919. This is one of the first race riots before, like, you got these LA riots, before you got all these different type of riots. But this was the Red Summer.
Well, it said the Red Summer was a period in mid-1919 during which white supremacist terrorism and racial riots occurred in more than 36 cities across the United States. Let's see, and in one rural county in Arkansas. So,
that also brings us to you said what, 1919, right? So one other thing that was hurtful to the Black 1921 Tulsa. That was when the Tulsa race massacre destroys Black Wall Street in Oklahoma. That was in 1921. Now,
something else people don't discuss and talk about is the Black Wall Street.
It's a Black Wall Street, but you know what? The Black Wall Street, although we talk about it being located in Tulsa, Oklahoma, yes, it was major. It was real big, you know what I'm saying? But there were other areas that and now when I say other areas, there were other cities and other places that, African Americans were establishing banks, schools, economies.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Economic freedom for themselves. You know what I'm saying? So they farms and doing things. You know what I'm saying? And when people say African Americans are lazy or they, in the country, they never, they don't want this. They want to be welfare babies or blah blah blah. Whatever the crazy stuff that some people
The crazy
say.
stereotypes that they
You
want to
gotta
place
think about these places where these people had, black people were in Congress, you know what I'm saying? But where these black people had built cities, towns, and homes to make a living and was supporting, themselves and wasn't bothering nobody.
Right.
So it wasn't a racial thing. It's just the way it was in the country. You know what I'm saying? You was already, divided. It had nothing to do with black and white. But anyway, that was in 1921. The Tulsa Race Massacre, the Tulsa thing happened in 1921, but also wanted to look in the 1920s.
1920s was the Harlem Renaissance.
Yep.
The Harlem Renaissance.
And that celebrated
Black culture, music, and literature. Yeah.
And I thought, that was pretty cool. The Harlem Renaissance. Talking about, the music. That's when I guess we got jazz, the blues, all that good stuff. So check out, the Harlem Renaissance. If you ain't heard of that, look that era up and see what was going on, And then 1947, Jackie Robinson breaks the color barrier in Major League Baseball. Number 42.
Number 42.
And there was what made that so big, breaking the color barrier. I know there was other colored baseball players that were really good. They had the Negro professional leagues. You know what I'm saying? So again, another entity that African Americans had before integration had the Negro leagues, but then they wanted to break the color barrier and the equality and stuff like that. So that did happen with Jackie Robinson, but I know Satchel Paige was a good baseball player as well. So we looking into the 1950 era. Now let's get into the 1950s to
1970.
Well, let me mention 1948. President Truman desegregates the U.S. military. So that was another time when the U.S. military was desegregated in 1948. Harry Truman, so he went through some stuff to do that. I mean, I just couldn't believe, you fighting for the same country, the same cause,
but you couldn't be integrated.
But you can't be integrated.
That reminds me of the movie Glory.
Well, I mean, Glory, wait. You went back to the Reconstruction era.
I did. But still, you had your black troops and their own little command. That's what it reminds me of when I think of that. I know that was before that, but still, just Glory popped in my mind.
I mean, the movie you just seen, 688.
Oh, 688, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The Tuskegee Airmen. Yes. Let's bring it to the era that it was in.
I know.
You know what I'm
saying? I just want to laugh because Glory. I don't know why Glory. Denzel popped first in my he popped first in my mind. I got my rifle in one hand and the blue book in the other. I know I was in the wrong era.
Which brought us into the into 1950s up until between the 50s and the 70 era, which at this point we call the Civil Rights Movement era. So just bear with us here as we go down the timeline. The Civil Rights era, the Civil Rights Movement and legislative victories. Let's look at some of the things that we highlighted in that moment in that era. One being 1954.
Brown versus the Board of
Education. Declares school segregation unconstitutional. That's what the Brown versus Board of Education. And then you got the little girl. They started with a little girl marching in Little Rock.
Bridges.
I don't know. What you
little
say?
Ruby Bridges.
What did you say?
Yeah, little Ruby.
And Arkansas.
And Ruby's still alive.
And she's still alive.
Yeah, Ruby Bridges is still alive.
I mean, like we said, you're looking at 70 years ago.
We're
going to get into that. We're only looking at 70 years ago. Keep that in mind. You know what I'm saying? This is just a generation, right?
Right.
Anyway, so we'll get into that there. And she
when you put it in perspective with our ages, then you realize how close it really is.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where we get into that. So she did that, and then you had the Rosa Parks arrest, sparked the Montgomery boycott in 1955.
And did you know, though, that Claudette Colvin, a teenager, refused to give up her bus seat before Rosa Parks did, but she was largely ignored by history. So they did not recognize her stand to give up her seat on the bus, but Rosa Parks was given the recognition for that.
Did you know? Did you know? Did you know? Did you know? Did you know?
All right. Thank you for that. Did you know? And then, you got 1963. We're going to talk about Dr. Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
And leads the March on Washington and delivers the I Have the Dream speech. So that was 1963. But like we said, right before that a little bit, this is when, like I said, Rosa Parks leads the Montgomery boys. So from 55 to 63, the South was going through the changes that they were trying to make. Lunch, sit-in, all the sit-ins and doing different things to try to get, Emmett Till, you know what I'm saying? Been accused of whistling at a white woman.
Every time I think about that, he was a baby.
Yeah, 14-year-old boy getting, anyway.
That was lied on.
And then, but stuff going through all around the country, people going through these things. So, again, back to the March on Washington, 1964, Civil Rights Act bans racial discrimination in 1964. The Civil Rights Act bans racial, and that's in 64. And then get into that too. And real briefly, 1965, the Voting Rights Act
outlaws discriminatory voting practices.
Outlaws discriminatory voting practices. So voting rights strengthens Black political power in a sense in this era. And that was in 1965, Voting Rights Act. So, and
then you have the rise up of the Black Panther Party in 1966.
1966, the Black Panther Party was founded to fight. Let's get this clear. Founded to fight police brutality and uplift Black communities. They fed over 800 and something kids a day. And they started a food program, feeding kids before they went to school in the morning. I mean, they had a breakfast program and that was just one of the programs.
I was going to say, again, things you do not hear.
Yes, the Black Panther Party was not created to fight police. It was created to protect the people from police brutality, which we later seen in 2021. We seen Trayvon Martins, we seen George Floyd, we seen
too many.
It was sparked back up, you know what I'm saying, in the 2019, 2020 with the Black Lives Movement because police brutality. And it's not to say that all, everyone is bad, but I'm just saying this was, so we go from the Black Panther Party being started to fight this in 1966 to stuff still going on in 2021, 22, 23, 24. Let's stop it in 25.
Absolutely.
But also 1968, Martin Luther King was assassinated. And the Fair Housing Act was also passed in 1968. Let's move on. Like I said, we can go on. So now we're looking at 1970s to the 2000s, and I'll go through it real quick on this timeline. We have political and cultural breakthroughs.
1983, Reverend Jesse Jackson runs for president. He made history. 1989, we have Douglas Wilder becomes the first Black governor of Virginia. And then you have we remember this, 1992, Rodney King verdict sparks the LA riots, highlighting police brutality. And then in 1995, we had the Million Man March brings Black men together for unity and empowerment. And
also want to mention in that area, you said the riots and stuff that sparked that. And 2001, Colin Powell becomes the first Black Secretary of State. as well.
Something else I want to bring up in that era is it wasn't until 1983 that Martin Luther King Jr. Day was established as a federal holiday. 1983.
Yeah. Remember when Jesse ran?
Keep hope alive.
Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive.
Oh,
hey man, listen, that was huge though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for him to go and actually run for president, you know, people don't realize that, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, keep hope alive.
Yeah. Shout out to Reverend Jizzle.
Shout out to
Reverend Jizzle.
All right, yeah, we're on the back end of our timeline. On the back end of the timeline with the 2000 era to present, we're going to jump to present, you know, 25 years. So
let me shout out 2008. We all know that our first Black president was elected, Barack Obama.
President. Former President Barack Obama.
He is always president.
And First Lady Michelle Obama made she you know what I'm saying, they made an impact, you know what I'm saying? So
and I just have to throw into this, I was blessed to be part of that inauguration. I attended that inauguration in 2008, and it is something that I will take to my grave. I took our daughter with us. It's something that she can tell her children and her grandchildren, and it is something that I cannot even put into words other than it was just a beautiful, peaceful day in DC, but there was it was just a melting pot. It's wonderful. It's something I'll never forget. So it's a moment in history.
I mean, I was glad you went. I was in my video.
Your video era.
Always. I'm still in it.
You're in your video era.
Creating films and short documentaries, and sent Leah off with a camera because that's a moment we can't get back.
No.
So now, you know, you can go on YouTube and you can look up, you know what I'm saying, a video that you did with the inauguration. We interviewed people from all over
the United States and outside the United States.
All over.
Yeah.
And you got a chance to talk to them and see the excitement in people and capture that moment. And, you know, presidential inauguration 2008, Eyewitness is the name of it. You know what I'm saying? You can see part 1 and part 2 on YouTube. You can go in there and search up presidential inauguration Eyewitness, EYE Eyewitness, and just check it out. You did a great interview on it. We set that out, so it was pretty good. That was pretty good. Then, last but not least, she wanted to shout that out. So
I had to give a shout out to that because that was a once in a lifetime moment.
The Obama era. So then, still in 2000. 2013, Black Lives Matter movement began behind the Trayvon Martin incident. And that happened. The Black Lives Matter movement began. And then our country again went through some Blue Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, All Lives Matter. And again, I think sometimes we get things twisted. Like Black people are saying, you know, like we got Black History Month, and you get people saying, well, why we don't have a White History Month? You know, why we don't have this history month? We'll talk about that. You know what I'm saying? So if you're listening to some of the things on the timeline, you know, you will understand that, you know what I'm saying, what it is inclusion into American history.
Yeah.
And recognizing that, because if Black people have not been recognized in this country other than slaves and then 3/5 of a man, you know what I'm saying? And then we're going to even get more into, like we just said, in 1965 is when this Voting Rights Act is passed. And I mean, we talked about it. It's been about 71 years since that, but 61 years ago. So technically, we were one of the generations first born where Black people actually have rights. Like we were just 10 years off of not having rights in this, you know what I'm saying? The right to walk down the street and not have to cross over to the other side because a white person is coming, the right to be able to go somewhere and not have to be accused of whistling at a white woman and afraid of them people coming to lynch you, to mob you. You know what I'm saying? You got to think of the lynchings that Black people went through. We're just now born on the outside of born in the first generation with having rights in America as Black people.
This is crazy. I saw something else too, and I just kind of had to go, wow. I mean, it just, people are saying, I've never seen a country so divided, but it was just 50 some years ago that we still had the separated water fountains, the color water fountain and the white water fountain. It wasn't that long ago.
That's what I'm saying.
We act like it was. We act like it was. Yeah.
Well, I think people want us to believe, like they say, what's Black and white got to do anything? Oh man, slavery had nothing to do with me and you. It was generations ago. Slavery.
That's what my ancestors. Slavery
has nothing to do with anything, and not with us, not today. Why don't y'all get over it? Why don't you get over it? Why don't you? Man, it ain't no black and white thing no more. But you know what I'm saying? The policies. We talking 77 years ago. I mean, we talking the civil rights, Act, 50th Amendments. These amendments just came into effect. So obviously we're still, and even to this day, we deal with policies that are in place to marginalize, you know what I'm saying? I mean, to hold down a group of people, keep people in a certain place, and that's going to get us into talking about the DI, and we're going to get into that subject in a minute. You know what I'm saying? How policies impact Black and marginalized communities by the people that make the law in Congress. You have people. You got to think. You have people that's in Congress still that was in this segregation era. That was born, like you just said, Rosa Parks is, you know what I'm saying? These people still alive, right? So you have people that still, I'm sorry, we were talking about
Ruby Bridges.
Ruby Bridges.
Still alive, yeah.
Yeah. She's like, no. And Rosa is still alive. And, Rosa Parks, her. Nah, but we have people that are still alive from these eras, right? So if you have these civil rights leaders or these people that were fighting for civil rights still alive, you have those people that were fighting against civil rights that are still alive, and those people are probably sitting somewhere in Congress. You know what I'm saying? You feel what I'm saying? Those people, and then their seeds are, you know what I'm saying, just coming up under them, just thinking, it's all, back to Donald Trump, make America great again.
When was it great?
But you go through this timeline, when was it great? But I'm gonna finish off too.
I just wanted to say something real quick too, and you just kind of what you were saying about why are we still stuck on this? It doesn't affect us, but it does affect us. One of the things I always say is if you're ignorant of the past, you're doomed to repeat it. It still affects us. Racism is still alive. Growing up. And I'm just now 47, almost 48 years old, growing up in a small town. We grew up in.
Don't even tell your age.
Listen, I don't care to tell. I'm thankful. I'm thankful. I'm blessed.
You don't even look.
That's right. That's right. That's right. No.
31.
But we grew up in a town where we had a pool that Black people were not allowed to even go to.
Yeah.
You had a membership only, and we were not allowed to go.
Yeah.
So, and I don't want to get off the subject, but I mean, I just think about
it's not getting off the subject necessarily,
right? And I think about stories that my grandparents told about another pool where I think they could go. I don't even remember how often it was, but then they would drain the pool after they were there, or they have the one time a year. I think it was in August that Black people could go to Cannon Park. So, yeah.
And that was just like a generation.
Yeah, you can't forget that.
We're the generation. We don't think about it. Just that, you know what I'm saying? I mean, basically was born in 76. I mean, we're talking the same period right now that our parents literally, like you said, grew up going to a swimming pool once a week. our parents literally grew up like,
or once a month, whatever it
you know what I'm
was.
saying? Yes. We have Douglas High School here, and we have Barnett High School here in Huntington, West Virginia, where they were black high schools. You know what I'm saying? This is where the Negroes had to go to school.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They just was in the area of the, like we just talked about, Ruby segregating and moving to segregate schools and to integrate into these schools. And I think it wasn't to get, it was to, I think it wasn't so much about the integration part of it, but it was about the equal rights. They were fighting for equality, the right to, just like I said, walk down the street in peace. You know what I'm saying? Get an education. And it wasn't so much that I think the educations was so much better, but you know, the blacks, and I say blacks were reading from books from the 1920s, when white students would get books that, you know, were of the time and the era.
We got the leftovers.
So yeah, you would get the hand-me-downs, and you would get the y'all. This is because they felt that black people were less than. At the time, apparently because of these laws had to be created. And these people, these freedom fighters, the civil rights leaders, men and women, black and white, were going through the struggle in the era to make sure that everybody was able to have equality and just be Americans.
But even if you think about it, it's crazy that you even have to have a law. I mean, if you really, really just think about it, it's crazy that you have to have laws to have rights.
Yeah, I agree 100% too, that, you know, then let me finish this off too.
Okay, go ahead.
And then, I didn't say, let's finish off a little bit of 2020, Kamala Harris was elected the first black U.S. president.
Vice president.
2021. And 2020, well,
20.
And then 2021 is she becomes the first. But anyway, 2021, right there. We had already mentioned in 2020 global protests for racial justice after George Floyd's murder. And that was in 2020 as well. So when you're talking, we know about George Floyd. We don't get into that too much. But even before George Floyd, I want to go back to, 2016.
Colin
Kaepernick protests police brutality by taking a knee during the national anthem.
That man been ostracized ever since.
Put him out the league.
They
said, and then I don't want to, the president now was one of the biggest advocates of getting him out of his job, saying he was being disrespectful to the military when it was a white soldier from one of the football teams said, "Hey, Colin, don't sit down, take a knee. Take a knee out of respect."
That's respect.
What I'm saying? Now the crazy part about it, and it's not compared black and white, but Tim Tebow also was taking knees later on after that, and he wasn't ostracized for his type of protest, you know what I'm saying? But they turned Colin Kaepernick's protest to police brutality into disrespecting the flag, like,
in the country.
Nah, man, he talking about, you know what I'm saying? This just happened with Trayvon and all these, and then after him, and then it was just crazy. But anyway, like I said, I'm not gonna get into the details. You can look this stuff up for yourselves when you get a chance. So now we're talking about Kamala Harris, and then 2024 to 2025.
Continued struggles for voting rights, reparations, and economic justice.
Yeah.
This is now. Now we're going to talk about the DEI getting taken out and all this stuff. And not that the DEI was just for African Americans, but the African Americans are the face of it, because DEI does, after affirmative, there's no longer no affirmative action. And then before the affirmative action, it was like a multicultural thing, they called it, you know what I'm saying? It was always there in place, laws, again, that you needed to put in place non-discrimination practices against people of color and people of color and marginalized communities, like I was saying. So Right before we go into the DEI, though, I kind of want to digress back to when we're recognizing people, that we need to mention that as part of Black History Month, what we've done recently.
Yeah, we can get into that. Well, how do we try to celebrate? We had a music, art, and theater. We had a program, Positive People Association, celebrated William Billy Clemens, artist from Huntington, West Virginia. So we had a program, and there, as you can see, him and his brother, Keith, we had a night at the Marie Red Center.
Yeah.
Very nice event, food, family fun, music. Shout out to everybody that helped.
It was a good turnout too.
The PPA board, it was a great turnout, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I think
it
so
was
too.
really
You know what I'm
good.
saying? Shout out to KK for coming to help cook.
Oh yeah, she took control of the food. Some good food too. Y'all missed it. We weren't there.
that was slapping. And then we had we gave out like I said, several awards, as you can see here. Miss Marie Red actually showed up. She
right on
she
time.
was busy, but she came out and she made it, and she got a chance to give an award to Miss Sandra Clemens.
Yeah.
So she got a chance to talk to her about that, and that was great. We honored William Billy Clemens. We honored his artwork and stuff, so you can see some of the artwork. We had different displays of his art around the facility as well. Extraordinary artist, you know what I'm saying? So that was pretty dope.
God-given talent.
That was pretty dope. And you can see several pictures here of people. Miss Kinder, community member, a lady in the community that does so much for the community. We wanted to honor people like her.
For outstanding community leadership.
Outstanding community leadership, you know what I'm saying? Cheryl got an award for outstanding community leadership. Dave Party Maker, Michael Thomas, Miss Clemens, a few more, but we'll continue to do these type of dinners, not just because it was Black History Month, but we want to continue to honor people, period, in the community for doing those things. So that was pretty cool. That was a pretty nice little event that we did. So we did want to highlight that a little bit too.
And then we just attended and participated in the Black History, the CB Knuckles Black History Museum and Community Center fundraiser dinner this past weekend in Ashland, Kentucky at the Highlands Museum. It was a great night, good turnout there. I was able to portray Madam C.J. Walker.
You did. Madam C.J. Give me a line. No. Give us a line.
To whom much is given, much is required. Don't you go getting all caught up in yourself and your blessings and forget to bless somebody else. That's our mission in life. Remember that.
All right, then, Madam C.J.
We also had Angela Linthicum that portrayed Mahalia Jackson, and Kristen Martin, who portrayed Harriet Tubman.
They kicked me out.
NormB portrays Medgar Evers. So if you want to book him, holla at me.
That's right, agent. That's right, my agent. So, where we going from here? So, we're not gonna be too much.
We were talking about we were gonna go into the DEI.
Yeah,
hit on that, highlight that a little bit.
We want to highlight that too. So yes.
Yeah, and I think just basically, when people think of DEI, they always think of people of color. I think that's automatically the label that goes along with DEI. But there's so many other people that benefit from DEI. Women, number one, not just women of color. Women are a number one. People with disabilities, the LGBTQ plus communities, and just so many more people that, it's just, there's so many things that DEI encompasses that people don't realize. That it's just really sad. I saw today that Ohio State was getting rid of their DEI. They're closing their DEI offices to go along with what President Trump has put out, and I just think that's sad that we've even come to this point in 2025 to even have that as a consideration.
Still be talking about.
And still be talking about this.
Still be talking about having to keep laws in place to ensure the equality again and the equity of people in the same, you know what I'm saying, that live in this country. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we know when Trump came in and Vance and everybody that they came in, they started a DOGE,
Doge or whatever.
You know, Department of Government Efficiency. And, you know, it's like, well, what's that got to do with the DEI and all that stuff? So they started to cut that out because they felt that under DOGE, under the Department of Government Efficiency, it's wasteful spending in some of these areas. So they just start cutting. This gives them a way to start cutting and firing anybody, right? You come in and you say there's no more affirmative action, there's no more DEI. You know,
they want it to be merit based.
So there's none of this. There's none of these things in place that can protect the normal citizen or protect the citizen that someone feels is not up to par or capable of doing anything, like, or not saying not doing anything, but just not qualified. That's all you gotta say is I don't, you know, you're fired with no backlash to any judgment that you make. So I don't understand why in 2025 we have to still say Black Lives Matter. I don't understand in 2025 why
we're still fighting for equality.
You know, in a sense, well, even it's Black History Month. Next month is Women's History Month. We're talking about all the stuff that the women had to go through, right? So why do you have to have a Women's History Month, right? Why do you have to have these? Why do you have to have these reminders? You know what I'm saying? But you know, is it necessary to have a Black History Month?
I think so, but to me, Black history is 365, 24/7.
I understand. Like,
it doesn't.
We live in Black
we live
history
it every day,
right? So, but you know, is it necessary? I heard something on, you know, you always hear stuff on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, all this stuff. I actually heard something on. I guess it was like Instagram or something, and this lady was speaking, but she was like on a Fox News thing, and she was saying that, you know, white people need to be protected. Like they need to have. We have all this stuff: Black History Month, Black Lives Matter. You have all these things protecting Black people from everything. But white people need something to protect them from things. She said, and all this came about because they couldn't drink out of the same water.
Oh, I heard that. Yeah.
And everything, she might have been having a point to some things, but then her reasoning behind it just went right back to the reason why it is necessary to have laws. All this came about because they couldn't drink out of the same water fountain. Well, what part of equality do you think that is? What part of, why don't, you know what I'm saying? Of course, Black people in America need protection. And we needed these laws because we just said it. Just 60 years ago, 70 years ago, a generation was born with rights. With the rights that we have should not be afraid to walk down the street and have to cross the street because a white person is on the same side of the street that you're on. We can send our kids to the same schools necessarily, you know what I'm saying, somewhat. You know what I mean? It's still de facto segregation in American neighborhoods because, you know, you got a neighborhood that's 92% white people live here and whatever. That's all around, not just Black and white. You got your Asian community. You got people from Ireland live in this community, people from, you know, South America live in this community. So de facto segregation happens. You just end up migrating to a neighborhood where those people, you know what I'm saying? But some of it was probably forced that way, right? If you were black, you know, the white people were gonna let you live out there or live over here or live down this way. Y'all gonna all live right here.
And unfortunately, that's still going on.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, so, you know, you move into town where you go to the side of town where you see people
That look
that
like
share, I'm gonna say look like you, but share the same culture as you did. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
But they happen to look like you, but they share the same culture.
Right.
And that's just a natural thing, though, for the most part, right? I mean, I guess rich people move where rich people move, poor people move where poor people move. But it could be black or white. You know what I mean?
But to answer your question about is it necessary to have Black History Month? Absolutely, yes. Because, you know, I feel like if we don't have a designated month, a designated holiday, they try to forget us. They don't recognize us. We're underrepresented as far as the contributions. And I feel like Black people have made major contributions to America. But otherwise, if you don't have a month or a designated holiday, then you're just overlooked by mainstream America.
So again, thank you for that was just my thought when I said
and that was just me. I was thinking about it's necessary.
Is it necessary to have this? You know, like people say, like you said, it's like, hey God, this slavery had nothing to do with me and this and that, and y'all should forget about it. But we just have to recently understand that in Florida and other places, they were trying to take Black history out of the books.
Out of the schools, definitely.
Out of the schools, they were like, no more, you know, not.
You're bringing up bad times, and our kids don't need to hear about that, and they can't handle that, and that's true traumatizing. What do you think?
But
what do you think? How do you think we feel? I don't understand that.
But then not highlight the flaws of Black people, then highlight the achievements. Highlight the Carters that took a peanut and made thousands of inventions out of it. You know, highlight the people that made the stoplights. You know, highlight the, you know, the Tuskegee Airmen. Highlight, you know what I'm saying? Let's highlight, you know, George Carver did and created like electricity and all this stuff. Highlight the
positives,
the achievements.
Yeah.
And not just because they're Black Americans, then take that, highlight the achievements because an American who happened to be Black created these things in American history, and not have to say, you know, we don't want to highlight that because it was created by somebody Black. Just accept it. It's all of a part of American history. I mean, dang, it's crazy to just think that skin color, some people just can't get over that fact. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we don't. I don't want to highlight the stuff that happened in the Jim Crow era we didn't want to talk about the lynchings and all that stuff that was going on, and all that stuff that was going on. So we don't want to highlight that part of American history. That's not what the show's about. We wanted to highlight the struggles of African Americans. This being the 20th day of February. You know,
the last day of Black History Month.
Yeah, for this year, hopefully. They don't take it. They was talking about not celebrating.
Yeah.
I mean,
they don't want you to celebrate any holidays. Like, no Juneteenth, no this, no that, no other.
Like, anyway, we gonna get we just came on. We just came on to say welcome back. It's good to be back with you on the podcast, and
you
come back and talk, and hopefully, you know what I'm saying, we generate. If you want to sponsor or be a part of the podcast, just go to positivepeopleassociate.com. DM us, whatever you need to do. DM Lady Tiger, DM NormBeezy on Facebook, IG, wherever you know how to contact us, get a hold of us. We got some exciting shows coming up. We got some good people that's ready to come in and speak with us.
Oh yeah.
And we got some entertainment and stuff we're looking forward to, and some good shows. Maybe we can hopefully introduce more podcasts. I know Shooting the Shit with Shank is coming back out this year in 2025. I'm proud of Lakeisha Barron.
Absolutely.
Brown,
All
Heart
right,
to
so
Heart.
bro.
Heart to Heart. Y'all check that out, yo, for real.
That's real dope.
Yeah,
That's really
check out
dope.
Lakeisha
Yeah.
Barron Brown's Heart to Heart, man. That's a dope podcast.
Yeah. And don't forget Jamila.
I know. I was going to get to
Oh, I'm
Jimmy.
sorry. That's other soul, bro.
Oh,
You gotta shout out to him.
you gotta give him the thing then.
All right, so
What's the?
I'll let.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna say don't leave it out now. Nah, but no, yeah, Jamila Brown. I was trying to think of her podcast name. That's why I didn't.
Crossbars.
Crossbars with a K.
Yeah.
Crossbars with a K and a Z at the end. You know what I'm saying? Pretty dope. She had some good guests on her, some dope guests on her show. So we got some good projects coming up too. I'm excited about it.
We have some
stuff
upcoming events that we're gonna be a part of. So and participate in.
Yep. And it's back. Positive People Association, All Here Together Productions is bringing back Word on the Block 3 this time with some exciting guests.
And scholars.
I was gonna say some guys, exciting guest scholars.
Yeah.
Lecturers. Artists is gonna be dope.
Yeah, most definitely.
I'm really looking forward to the way we're trying to make this project go out. Save some of the the digital series part of the stuff, but I'm looking forward to that, man. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Word on the Block 3, April 26th.
Here on the block.
1637 8th Avenue, here on the block, 8th Avenue. So we're going to have artist displays. We're going to have more vendors. We're going to have a little bit of other activities going on, but I can't wait to see, you know what I'm saying? It's in the spring. It's going down April 26th. So right here in Huntington, West Virginia. So we've had people travel from out of town. So anyway, Word on the Block 3 is coming up. Make sure you let everybody know that too.
Yeah, we also have the gospel night was supposed to be part of Black History, but due to weather and other things, it was rescheduled for March 6th. That's at the Highlands Museum in Ashland, Kentucky. I believe it starts at 6 p.m. and I think that's a Thursday, but March 6th. And then there's also Black Policy Day in Charleston at the state capitol. That's a week from this Monday. It's on March 10th. It starts at, I believe, 8 a.m. to about 3 p.m. I know that Crystal Good is going to be
Shout
a part
out to
of
Crystal
Crystal.
Good. Yeah, Black by God, Crystal
by God,
Good, who was the founder, I believe, of the Black by God magazine. You know what I'm saying? And you can't wait to have her on the show. Can't wait to talk to her. Hey, what's up, Crystal? We can't wait to bring you on and holler at you and talk to you about all the good stuff, policies, Black policies and media and all that good stuff. So shout out to her too as well.
I think that's all I can think of upcoming events.
Right now, right?
Right now. I'm sure there's more. I'm sure the spring is going to get busy.
That sounds good. And again, we want to thank you for tuning in. If you tuned in, we want to get it to where you can call us. We know we didn't promote.
We just want to pop in and say what?
Necessarily. We just wanted to pop in.
Yeah.
We was in the area. And we figured like that.
We're back in the studio. We're back at
Black
it.
History Month. Let's get out there and let's get back on it.
If you'd like to be part of our podcast, I think you said that. Hit us up. Most definitely, we love that. Let's tell them again. Hit us up. Hit us up on our Facebook sites, IG, wherever you can find us. If you see us in person, we'll get you booked. We'll get you scheduled. We can bring you in here to the studio, or we can StreamYard you in. The power of technology. Where there's a will, there's a way. So
there's a way. I know also in March we will have the Huntington mayor.
Oh yeah, we're gonna bring Patrick Farrell back.
Come back. We'll bring him back too. It's gonna be great. This upcoming season, season 5. We'll be back on Buzzsprout.com so we can share the audio portion of our show. So.
No, I just wanted to, as a closing, just go back to our theme. If you try to erase African American history, you erase American history. You can't deny our resilience, our strength, our impact that we've had on America. So we ain't going nowhere.
I mean, probably like bodies over on boats. I'm just kidding, but hopefully the whole American culture ain't nobody going nowhere.
No.
You know what I'm saying? We need to learn how to live together, get along together. You know what I'm saying? And now that's gonna be a whole nother episode. We're gonna get into talking about sharing resources.
Well, it's just like they say, united we stand, divided we fall.
So thoughts, takeaways, shout outs, thanks again to the listeners. And but we gotta go. We gotta go.
Uh-oh.
We
so
gotta go.
to say goodbye.
Yeah, try to hear me sing.
No.
Cut me off.
You might
Every
want to
time
mute the mic, please.
Every time I start singing, you just be cutting me off.
Thanks for tuning in to the
We gotta go.
That's not your gift and your talent. Stay in your lane.
And Lady T.
You can also check us out on the biz.buzzsprout.com for more episodes. And we look forward to hearing from you and seeing you on the next one.
On the next one.